was 27 from Eustis to Coburn like, you know, way, way back? Was that like a dirt road?
It certainly was, not all of it, but from my dad, when we came back from Portland, because he worked in the shipyard during the war, and when he come back, the state used to hire different individuals for summer maintenance for different roads all over the state. And my dad had the road from the Eustis line to Coburn Gore, the Canadian line. And the hot top went up. You know where Sharampus Falls is up there?
I do.
You come back this way south about 3/4 of a mile, and that's where the tar road ended, and it was all dirt from there to Coburn Gore. Well, some of it was fairly wide, but most of it, all your logging roads today are far superior to what that was. Because there was 2 or 3 places just before you get to Arnold Pond and Coburn Gore that you couldn't even see the road in front of you when you went over them. It was like that.
Wow.
There were no trucks, and there was probably maybe 6 cars a day that went up through there all day.
Yeah.
Now you got that in 10 minutes.
Right. No logging
Something
trucks.
like that. No logging trucks.
No, no logging trucks.
That was pretty nice. Yeah.
And you were in the logging business, were you not?
I got a forestry background. I did some logging. I built 5 different log places, including our own home.
Wow.
Which is 2,380 square feet and full selling stuff. In fact, Bruce Smith was operations manager here when we did the village center, and he let me use the farms to do my foundation. So I did all of that. I built the whole house mostly in my spare time.
Yeah.
It's pretty good size.
No directions.
No directions. No, I designed it, and it came out pretty good. Too big, about 4 times too big, but we've lived in it 44 years.
Right.
Anyway.
Tell us about Flagstaff.
Flagstaff, yeah. Back in the late 30s, my dad used to ice fish on the old Flagstaff Lake. And Dutchy Levitt, which is now the Pines Market, had the store there, and I knew Dutchy from down there. And anyway, when they flooded the lake, CMP built him a new place in Eustis, where it's a busy place now, boy, they're really doing great guns. But my uncle had a farm up on Colwell Road, and I spent more time up there than I do to my folks, I think. And I used to help with the milking and the haying and stuff. Well, one of the things, there was a couple of years in the late 40s before the lake was flooded in there, that what he would hay, a huge field. There's some beautiful farms down through there back then, but we'd spend maybe 10 days or something like that haying. Well, what he used was horses, and he kept them at the farm on the ridge. Well, he'd harness up the horses. John would ride one, my cousin. I'd ride the other one to Flagstaff, 7 miles, and we put them in the garage, and that's where we kept them. And then we had them right handy there to work the fields and do all of the haying and process the hay and cut it and took it back up and put it in the barn up there. But back then, they never baled outside. It was all put in loose in barns, and then they had these hay balers that be in the barn. They do that in the wintertime and bale the hay. And that was a nasty job, because I'd done that a couple times. Once up in the hay mound, all that hay chaff and everything is wicked.
Yeah.
And then I think the second time I did it, there was 2 big barns out back, what they call the plaza now. And then and those bales weighed a couple 100 pounds. I went off big, but I used to stack those end over end and stack them up pretty high and keep them inside the barn, because you couldn't put them outside, to keep them out of the way.
No mask or anything? You
no, what was that? Maybe put a handkerchief over your face,
Yeah. And got your hay burn there on your arm.
Yeah.
Oh, too funny. And that's some fond memories. Tell us about a little bit about camp. You got a good camp story here for us. I want to hear your camp story.
Do you know where the Mugwump is?
I do know where it is, yeah.
That street, that was the first camp up there.
Yeah.
Well, I was telling you earlier that my folks lived at Chain of Ponds for 9 years, from 1953 until 62 when my dad died. And I knew a lot of people in the club, a great bunch of people. In fact, when I was going to college, I worked 4 summers in the Big Island. But anyway, getting back to the camp story, Bill Rice was the president, and I knew him fairly well, and they had this camp that they were going to burn. You're going to burn it. The logs were all good. And he said, yeah, you can have the camp, but we want the windows for a boathouse over at Big Island. I said, that's fine. I had some more made in Canada, and they said it wasn't a problem, but I numbered all the logs, tore it all down. It was on the back side of Chain of Ponds, and not very far across where the Narrows are. floated everything across, pulled it out on the other side.
Wow.
Had a friend's truck of mine that was an International 10-wheeler, which was a pretty good sized truck at that time, and loaded everything on there. Plus I tore down another building for the lumber, and in a couple of months I put it back up because I took my summer's earnings from Big Island and bought quarter an acre. Well, that sat on Patrick Moulinier. I don't know if you remember him or not.
No.
But he bought it. There's 2 sons on it now, so there's only been 2 owners of that. So I put the thing back up again in a couple of months. Yeah.
That's quite a project.
Yeah, that was mentioned. I was talking to my neighbor. You ought to tell him about the camp or something like that if they're interested.
Too funny. You've got some good memories, huh?
Oh, beautiful. I've had a great life if I croak tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, if you were in an elevator, well, outside of Franklin County, because there's only 2 in Franklin County, I think. No, I'm just kidding. If you were in an elevator and you saw a guy with a Sugarloaf sticker, what would be your opening line to him?
Do you have a place in Sugarloaf? Or do you ski up there? How often? Or something like that?
Yeah. And would you tell him a little bit? What would you tell him? What would be your first story you'd tell him?
Oh, goodness.
That's a tough
Hard
one.
telling coming out of me.
Yeah. Depends, right?
That depends, who it is, what their interests are and stuff.
Yeah,
I try to play around that.
Yeah. Well, you got some great stories, and you have a wealth of knowledge here of the area. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
I take it a step further. I was born in Stratton, 1935, on Blanchard Avenue.
Really? In Stratton, huh?
Yeah, 44 Blanchard Avenue.
Wow.
That was my claim to fame. I was born under a spruce tree at the foot of Bigelow. Spruce tree's gone, but Bigelow's still there.
Yeah, there you go. There you
And it
go.
was in a house, because
Yeah.
everything was heated by wood back then. They didn't have oil and gas and all that stuff. Yeah.
Crazy. And it wasn't that long ago, doesn't seem. Yeah. To you, right?
Yeah, my life, I look back on it, it seems like it's been on fast forward.
Yeah.
That's my best way to describe it.
That you're talking about history, and it seems like yesterday.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Fred, a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here. We'd love to have you on again and talk some more.
Well, who knows what tomorrow brings?
Who knows what tomorrow brings.
Just
Thanks.
while we don't.
That's right. Thank you so much, Fred. And that's going to wrap it up for this edition.